Annual Stewardship Drive that will continue through this service and the luncheon afterwards. This is the time we solicit financial pledges from members and friends to support and sustain work at this church. I especially would like to thank our Finance Committee, headed by Jeff Penzino, for coordinating this drive and for the work they will do to turn the pledges we make this month into a proposed operating budget for next year. I would also like to name Paula O'Brien, thanking her for spearheading the stewardship meal that we will share upstairs after the service. There's no hidden agenda in this morning's message. My intent is simple and direct. I hope to talk you into contributing generous amounts of money to the Beverly Unitarian Church, our shared church home. But I don't think of this as a sales job that needs clever gimmicks and subliminal signals. Instead, I feel I'm naming a reality that you already know about, that you carry in your heart. The life of this church is important to each of us, to our community, and to our futures. My task should be easy because I just want to remind you that all of us want this pledge drive to be successful because we are all deeply invested in the health and perpetuation of our church. It's not so easy, however, to name what it is that we do here and to describe what we represent to each of you. Mostly that is because so much of what we do and are is a matter of opportunity and possibility and differs for every person who touches this congregation. My highest priority for BUC is our abbreviation, is that we continue to be a safe and welcoming space for anyone who comes through our doors. And at the start, that means accepting people for who they are, opening our arms and opening ourselves to them. We say words to newcomers along the lines of, we welcome all people here, every color of the rainbow from every place on earth. Whatever your past or present is like, we invite you to walk into the future with us. We believe these words, and typically we do a very good job of following through and living them. Welcome and safety are not just for newcomers, though. As a church, as a liberal church, we work very hard to create a space where we can learn to challenge ourselves and each other. We encourage every one of us to struggle with difficult ideas and emotions, and we try to do this by sharing in community. No issue or topic is verboten here, and we hope that we can work together to find common understanding and mutual respect. God knows we do not agree on everything. In fact, God is a good example of something we see in many different ways. We feel no need to agree about God and come to appreciate how God and all religious ideas do or don't bring meaning to others. The world offers a very few places where a person can attend to matters of real personal importance, to ask questions we might hold about the meaning and purpose of our lives, and to try to understand our presence in this world. If we put ourselves out there, we can find numerous groups of people who will share activities based on interests and affinities with us. Maybe doing political organizing, learning a new art technique, playing or following sports, taking classes, joining book groups, and so many other voluntary ways to associate. All of these are great. They can help you invest in the world of social mobility They can be very positive uses of time, and they all bring the possibility of new friends. Some of us are fortunate and can engage with our family members and closest friends about the things that are most important to our own understanding of ourselves. But I imagine that just as many of us protect and defend our closest personal ties by avoiding certain types of discussions. There are many adage we all know along the lines of good fences make good neighbors, or similarly, you can discuss everything except religion, politics, and maybe sex, and maybe money. In much of our social world, we learn that honesty, candor, and openness are not always appreciated and can even be destructive. For most of us, the things we do here in church and the activities we share with people from this church become the places where we feel most free to be ourselves, to express our thoughts and feelings, and to take risks. Part of it is because we do tend to be like-minded. But even more, it's because we trust each other. We agree that fellowship is predicated on honesty and mutual respect. We treat one another with dignity and expect to find fairness. We do not always agree, but we learn that differences of ideas present opportunity for learning and growth. When we do our job correctly, our church life provides protective wrap inside of which we can feel safe, accepted, and appreciated. There are many things I hope that we can and will do as a church. I hope that we can stand fast against inequality and hate in our community and provide a steady and clear voice to protect and support those who are victims of injustice. I hope that we can work together to help steer our nation back on a course of reasoned political dialogue and a shared understanding of history and future. We need to mobilize ourselves to work for an America that is free and democratic. So I hope we engage in the coming elections, possibly in cooperation with an impending You the Vote initiative. I hope that we continue to engage in ways that support those who need help, be they recent immigrants, the homeless, women seeking reproductive health care, those challenging the gender binary, and our neighbors who are victims of crime or subjects of state incarceration. We should always be ready to stand shoulder to shoulder with persons and groups discriminated against for reasons of religion, race and ethnicity, or national origin. I name these issues and causes because some of us are engaged in all of them. And we are a group that has the power and potential to mobilize on any of them. We are talking a lot about how to become more influential, and we are trying to devise strategies for bringing our justice agenda to a place of greater visibility in the community. I expect to see us expand our offerings, like the recent A is for Abortion, the public panel and discussion that was held here last month, organized by our social justice team, co-sponsored by the Southsiders for Peace. Our castle is already a landmark. It's a symbol for the Beverly community. Our task, as I see it, is to highlight it more as a castle in the sky, a beacon that calls all to a sense of moral accountability and community justice. We want our church to keep going and to thrive. In the long run, this will require creating programs to attract and sustain new members and to replace those that we lose. To do that, we have to feed their souls, find ways to feed their souls in the same manner that we have fed our own. But to get there, wherever there might be, our first job is simply to sustain and steward what we are now, to keep and protect what we have built and earned here at Beverly Unitarian Church. And that is the point of the stewardship drive. Our church budget is very lean compared to other churches of our side, and there's really no fat to trim without substantial loss of capacity. Your leadership team does an excellent job of marshaling the resources that have been raised. And if you do not know, or if you know but need reminding, let me highlight that only we pay for this church. No other groups contribute to our operating budget. The UUA does not pass down. In fact, we pay them. There is no public support, no outside donor group. Our budget consists of what we each pledge and donate, along with some enhancement from fundraising activities like selling Christmas trees and our annual service auction. Earlier, I alluded to the notion that for many, money is not a favorite topic to share an open discussion. It might seem distasteful or vulgar to some, and deeply private to others. Many of us find it difficult to approach fellow congregants, to ask them to make their annual pledge. I know I used to feel this way, but I got over it. And so should we all. Money is just one of many methods that we use to express our values. And we need to think of it this way. If it comes to a choice between eating, taking your medicine, or pledging, I seriously hope forego pledge. Our congregation needs and loves you more than we need your money. And we would never want you to compromise well-being in order to put money in our coffers. There are many ways to contribute to church life by giving time and skills and other capacities you have. And members of this church do this all the time. But we seriously hope that most of you consider the value and importance of Beverly Unitarian Church, its role in your life, your family's lives, and in the community. We all have causes we care about, places where we donate, often generously. Many of these are causes we hear about here in church. For example, last year, substantial contributions were directed to the immigrant and asylum seekers in our community. BUC members and friends gave generously, and people contributed cash, food, clothing, furniture, as well as a lot of time and effort. Many people forgot that Saturday morning was intended for sleep. Instead, they got up and made breakfast. It made a difference. Many of us also make contributions for disaster relief, for political campaigns, social service programs, public radio and TV, and lots of other causes. And we do it because we feel compelled to help to better our world. And we do it because it feels good to give. Caring and compassion are fundamental tenets of a good life. And there is a spiritual component in generosity. I just ask that we remember that our church home should hold a preferred place on our list of charitable causes, because it is more than just a cause. Our church is a second home for most of us, a real-life expression of our values and a way of helping us to live into our own words, to walk our talk. Our church should feel very personal to most of you. It's an extension of the familial in your life and a manifest embodiment of what is important for living in relationship and in community. Let us do all we can to keep this thing moving forward. It is our church. Let us continue to sustain it generously as we and our forebears have always done. Beverly Unitarian Church matters, and know that it is yours. Let it be so.